What's going on, family? This is a King LiKuiD Show message, and I am your man, King LiKuiD. That's LiKuid. The K for the king, not the Q for the queen. And on this message, family, I want to talk about General Qasem Soleimani. For those of you that may not know, General Soleimani was an Iranian general. This man was number 2 in power in Iran, and the U.S. targeted and assassinated him, I believe, this past week. Yes, this past week. They killed this man. So I know there are those of you that may be aware, those of you who follow the media and news, may be aware of the fact that he's been assassinated. There's, as you can expect, various feedback in the aftermath of this. And I thought I'd get in and I'd put my 2 cents in on it, because I think there are some things that just ain't being talked about, as to be expected on the right. The conservatives, Republicans, they're like, hey, this was a bad guy. He killed Americans. He's dead now. You know, this is a good thing. Let's celebrate, and we'll worry about the rest later. On the left, the Democrats, they're a little bit more introspective about it. They're taking a look and saying they're noticing oh, in Iran, they're raising the red flag of revenge. Well, you think you just killed the number 2 most powerful man in their nation? I mean, how would Americans respond if Iran had killed America's Joint Chiefs of Staff? Wouldn't we consider that an act of war? Absolutely we would. And you all know it. So I think it's important to talk about some things that are very, very important, but just are being overlooked based on what I've seen, or have not been talked about good enough, in my humble opinion. So family, I am a U.S. Air Force veteran, former Air Force sergeant, and I served from 1998 to 2008. I was there when we initiated the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. I was on active duty when these things happened. And family, let me tell you right now, a lot of this with Iran and General Soleimani, not good. Absolutely not good. I think Donald Trump is bungling the United States into a conflict. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. At the behest of, survey says, Israel. Now, family, I don't know how many of y'all knew this, but Trump unilaterally goes and orders this strike. He is the commander-in-chief. However, he does not have the ability to declare war. Congress can do that, all right? So he orders this strike. Now, the one person Trump did confer with, he talks to the folks over in Israel. People in Israel know that General Soleimani is getting ready to be taken out by America, but nobody in the Senate, nobody in the Congress, they don't know nothing. Okay? Now, I think what's important, family, is not so much how we got here. Mainstream media, there are other news folks out here, other folks in the black media that are talking about this. I want to focus on where we go from here as opposed to how we got here. A lot of folks are talking about what's going to be Iran's retaliation. And that's what I want to focus on, Iran's retaliation. Donald Trump and the Trump administration has just given Iran an absolute gift opportunity, family. What do you mean, King LiKuiD? What gift opportunity? What has Iran been fighting with America over with for the last 25 years? Nuclear weapons capability. Now Iran can not only pursue, but pick up where it left off from. Because you think that Iran really destroyed all of the the documents that they have to create nukes. I'm sure they put forth a nice dog and pony show for those UN inspectors that were coming back through there back in the early 2000s and all this other kind of stuff, when, you know, Iran was declared as being a part of the axis of evil. Okay? But now, full stop, Iran can get out and get after it when it comes to the pursuit, the optimization of their nuclear weapons program. No more excuses now. See, and if the U.S. and Israel protest Iran, all Iran has to do is show a picture of their dead general, Soleimani, to the world, and then bring their Iraqi brother with them and say, didn't America and Israel violate your sovereignty in order to carry out an illegal, non-sanctioned assassination of General Soleimani? And the Iraqi brother to the Iranian is going to say, yes, they did. And you can bet that the Chinese and the Russians are going to side with the Iraqis and the Iranians. Why? Because as far as China is concerned, as far as Russia is concerned, why in the world would we allow Israel and the United States to control the Straits of Hormuz? Look it up. Go and do some research about the Straits of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf. Do a little bit of geography. Know where things are at. Once you have an idea of the lay of the land, now it'll give you a better picture as to why things are going the way they are, as to why Israel wants the United States to kill Soleimani. Because the only logical conclusion is Trump is confirmed with Israel, no one else in the American government. Why? Because that's what Israel ultimately wants. Trump is superseding our Congress, our Senate, going straight directly to Israel and conferring with them. Since when did the government of Israel become a duly elected component of the American government? And let me be clear. I am being critical of Israeli government. This is not anti-Semitic speech. This is not speech against Jewish people. This is not speech against those who identify as being a part of Judaism or being Jewish. This is against the government that controls Israel's nuclear weapons, and the government that wants pretty much the Middle East destabilized so Israel can be strong while everyone around Israel is in a third world state or in some sort of utter chaos like what you will find in Libya today. So, good going, Trump administration. Yes, you have just given Iran the green light. And fam, y'all gotta think about it like this. Iran is not wired the same way that America is, okay? See, here in America, for example, 9/11 happens. All right, we gotta, once we identify who it is, let's, instant gratification, we gotta have it. We don't think through anything. Hey, we're over there 20 years later, we're still over in there. Said we was just supposed to be over in there for a few months. My memory serves me correctly. When things first popped off in 2003, everybody thought by 2004, 2005 tops we would be out. Nobody was expecting us to be in there in 2014, 2015, still be there 2019, 2020. We're still over in there. Okay? So, I think this is another chapter in that. We've taken action, okay? Have not really thought about the consequences of this action. And the biggest consequence I see is Iran now can restart its nuclear weapons program. And not only can it restart its nuclear weapons program, it can deal directly with Russia and China and helping them to optimize their nuclear weapons program. And if America or Israel protest, they don't have a leg to stand on. And I promise y'all, Israel is going to be putting pressure on the United States to do something. Because now, all bets are off. Iran's not interested in talking anymore. As far as negotiating, they're done with it. And they feel confident that they will have the backing of Russia and China. Because Russia and China's concern is making sure that things stay cool, all right? They don't want American or Israeli aggression. China and Russia, it's in their benefit if Iran has a nuclear arsenal. So they're going to defend Iran's right to build a nuclear arsenal. Israel and America don't have a leg to stand on in convincing China and Russia to not allow Iran to have a nuclear arsenal. Because if I'm China and Russia, I'm looking at America and Israel, and it's like, wait a minute, hey, guys, you flew a drone into somebody else's country. You violated their airspace to go and kill somebody that you don't like, that you say is an enemy. Okay? When we have all of this evidence, like for example, if you go back to 1953, when the duly democratically elected leader of Iran was deposed and overthrown in a coup funded and sponsored by the Central Intelligence Agency. So America, along with Britain, along with wanting to have control of the oil, started this back in the 1950s. See, most Americans are not aware that the Russians and Chinese are very much aware of this history. The Iranians have made it very clear to them, all right? The Russians and Chinese also understand that one of the reasons that America has not dared tested them as far as trying to invade either one of their countries is because America knows that they have a competent, viable nuclear weapons response. America can have her assets atomized if they mess with China and Russia. And this has kept America at bay. It has made America pursue a path of diplomacy as opposed to a path of barbarity. So again, if I'm Russia and China, I'm looking at what I've done. I'm looking at Iran. Iran can be a very stable partner in that region. I'm looking at the Straits of Hormuz. I'm looking at the Persian Gulf. I have more confidence in dealing with Iran than I do Israel and America. Absolutely. It seems to make sense that it is in my best interest to have a well-defended and protected Iran, especially when I consider the fact that I am moving forward with the BRICS consortium. Now, family, if you don't know what BRICS is, BRICS consists of 5 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, okay? This is an economic and military consortium in direct response to NATO. When it comes to trading oil and moving oil via pipelines, if you pay attention to where both Iraq and Iran, their positions, they are perfectly strategically located when it comes to moving oil and other supplies between Asia, Europe, and Africa. All right? China is in the process of building what they refer to as the new Silk Road, or the Beltway. The Belt and Silk Road, if my memory serves me correctly. Belt and Silk Road. I may have that one incorrect. But ultimately what it does is it's going to be a new land routes, new superhighways, new railways that they're going to be building that's going to be connecting China, Eastern Russia, Southeast Asia, all of those resources, all that economic stuff, everything that's going on in East Asia and whatnot, connecting that directly into Europe. So now Europe and Asia are going to have direct connections with one another through railway and roadway systems that did not exist before. China and Russia want that. The Europeans also want that. Yes, they do. Against Israel and America. Israel and America could care less about that. But the Europeans, they want that. So I give y'all this insight because I want y'all to go and do y'all's homework. Go and check this stuff out. Okay? Understand some of the geopolitics behind what's happening with Iran. All right? It's more than just Israel don't like Iran. No, it's about power and control. Understand what's going on from a geographical perspective. Understand what's going on as far as moving forward within China and Russia. China and Russia are getting ready over the next 10 years to unleash an economic explosion of prosperity for Europe, Asia, and Russia like they haven't seen in over a century. Okay? That's the plan here. China's looking at its part of the world along with Russia, and it's like, hey, we have all of our continents, all of our land masses between Europe, us and Asia, our connection into Africa. Why can't we combine all of our resources and build an economic powerhouse like the world has never seen? They look at the Americans, they're like, America's divided. That land over there is divided. They'll always be divided. And they won't come together. But between ourselves and Russia or China, let's partner with one another and let's build something economically and militarily. Now, do the Russians and Chinese like each other? No, but they are good business partners. They have good working relations with one another. They're not trying to stab each other in the back. And they consider themselves to have a mutual threat in America and Israel. So this is something that I think is being completely overlooked when we talk about General Soleimani, when we talk about what's going on with Iran. Nobody's talking about how this is connected into the development of China and Russia, their plans over the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years, the development of what's happening with the African continent and how China and Russia are both heavily investing into Africa right now, and Iran and Iraq's position. Because if you take a look at how the world looks and how it's wired, if you can have it where the world is connected through trainways, roadways, where oil and goods and services are being moved between Europe, Asia, and Africa, how relevant does that make America and Israel? Exactly, family. It doesn't. I think from a larger perspective, this kind of goes hand in hand with that. And from the perspective of many of the Middle Eastern countries, to include Russia and China, they ultimately look at America over the last 20 years as being the global aggressor. America is seen as the global aggressor over these last 20 years in this 21st century. And these are facts, family. These are facts. No other country has been as aggressive in invading other people's countries, starting wars like the United States of America has been at the behest of Israel. So I say, strap yourselves in tight, fam. It's gonna be an interesting ride, but I'm gonna end with this. If you black, you all right. Okay, it's another day for us here. We know what we got to do. Stay out of this war. If you are black, stay out of this war. Stay out of it. Okay? Allow all of those white boys that were buying Colin Kaepernick jerseys and burning Kaepernick jerseys and all of them white folks that tell us to stop kneeling and shut up complaining about police brutality. This is their fight. This is their fight. It's time for them to go and be patriotic. Black people, stay out of this. They'll shoot you down in the street unarmed right now. You'll go over there, fight. America wins, and then they come back and they'll say, hey, thank you for helping us win by shooting you down in the street unarmed. Stay out of it, Black America. Now, for those of you, if you ain't got no other choice, economics, you gotta eat, you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, I'm not judging you. I'm just simply stating, be prepared, because now that this stuff is jumping off, the government, they're gonna target the black community first. They're going to tell us, they're going to give us incentives to go sign up, enlistment bonuses here. All them bonuses that they're going to give you, they're going to tax it by at least 50%, okay? So if they tell you you're going to get $30,000 to sign up, no, you're only getting $15,000, all right? And that $15,000 is going to be, it may be a lump sum payment, and if you get a lump sum payment of $15,000, they may want to take off another $3,000 or $4,000. So now you're only getting $10,000 or $11,000. All right, they have every trick in the book. They'll tell you, oh, you're getting this $30,000 or $40,000, but they have every trick in the book to whittle it down, and the next thing you know, well, we had all of these other fees and all, just pure, unadulterated, barbaric gangsterism. But after they do all of that, it's too late, because your name, they got your name on the dotted line. You volunteered to work for Uncle Sam, boy. You volunteered to go fight. Now, either you gonna go kill somebody or we gonna kill you. See, that's how it works. So, black folk, stay out of this. All right, this is not our fight. Our fight here in 2020, over the next 10 years, the next 20, the next 30 years, our fight is black economic empowerment. Our fight is building. That's what we need to be doing. Building and protecting what we build, so we can have some happiness and have some empowerment to be able to survive and do for our people in the time and the future to come. And so far as the situation with Iran, it's dangerous, but if American corporate aggression, the need for greed and capitalism didn't happen in the early 1950s, if the CIA didn't go into Iran and overthrow the leader. And here's another backstory about that, because I know this message is going a little long, family, but there's a lot of important things that we really need to know and understand. All right, so here we go. Just a little 2-minute or less revisit of what happened in the early 1950s with Iran and why Iran became what it is today. In the aftermath of World War II, you had a lot of nations that were in debt and they were rebuilding. Iran had plenty of oil. It's always had oil. So Iran gets into a deal with the United States and some of the European partners. They were working with British Petroleum. At that time, it was under a different name, but ultimately today it's known as British Petroleum. Made a deal saying, hey, give us wheat, give us corn, and we're going to give you guys oil. The problem was this. The Americans would sell their wheat and their corn to the Iranians for 5 cents for a pound, right? But they wanted to buy oil from the Iranians for a cent for a barrel, 1 cent for a barrel. So ultimately what they wanted was the Iranians to pay them 5 times, 10 times more than what they were willing to pay the Iranians for their oil. Now this went along for a while, and eventually you had a leader, early 1950s, this is when the CIA steps in and kills this guy. The reason they kill this guy, because this guy says, hey, you know what? We've allowed you guys to come into Iran. We've allowed you guys to build up the oil infrastructure and everything, and you have not been paying us what we're owed. You have not paid us what we're due. You've used Iraqi labor to build up these different oil refineries. You've used our land to build and accomplish all these different things, but we're being severely, grossly underpaid, and our people are getting to a point. Our people are being driven to a point where they're economically in dire duress. So no, from now on, since you guys didn't pay us, and since you guys have been finagling around and trying to trick us, from now on, we are taking control. We are nationalizing our land and oil resources. This is our nation. This is our land. This is our oil. We're nationalizing it now. No more are we going to allow you guys to make huge profits off of us and then not pay us fairly. The response to that was this man being deposed. Okay? And ever since, the Iranian people have been fully aware of American aggression. American aggression removed their duly elected leader back in the early 1950s. American aggression has always played some point in some part in some role. You can't truly trust America because you know America has a knife waiting to plunge into your back. The Iranians developed this thought process based on America successfully overthrowing their duly elected leader in the early 1950s, 1953 to be exact. So y'all, go research this. Go do y'all's homework. I give these concepts to y'all. I share these tidbits of history. I don't get into all of the details because if I did that, this wouldn't be a message. This would be a lesson, and it would be a series of lessons. No, one of the key components of black empowerment, when you want to be economically empowered, that means you're going to have to get out and do some research. You're going to have to learn. So go and learn about these things. Start reading about the BRICS economic consortium. Learn about it. Start finding out about what I was talking about with the Belt and Silk Road and China and Russia expanding roads and trains to make trade easier throughout the landmass of Asia. Start researching that. Start researching how that's going to impact and benefit Europe. Start learning about all of these different things. Because once you understand that, now you understand what's going on with Iran. Look into what I mentioned about British Petroleum and the infiltration of the CIA into the Iranian government and them overthrowing that leader of Iran. Look these things up. Do your homework so we can be prepared. And I'm just going to end this message one more again saying, black people, stay out of this conflict with Iran. Stay out of it. Let the folks who are against Colin Kaepernick, let all of these folks who went to Charlottesville and said Jews will not replace us, let them, this is their time. They are being called right now. We are not being called. What we're being called to do as black people, we are being called to fight for black economic empowerment. We are being called to fight and protect black economic empowerment. We are being called to fight and protect black economic empowerment. We are not being called to go and fight Iran. All of those people that went to Charlottesville, all of them people that these crazy white guys with these AK-47s, you got 10 AK-47s in their basement, and they want to be patriotic and fight for America. Hey, it's time for you guys to head on over to Iran. That's where you guys need to go. Black folk, right here, start businesses, work together, unify. That's what we need to do right here. This is not our fight. Because I'll just say it like I said it before. Once we get coming back from the fight, they're going to reward us by shooting us down in the street unarmed. Yeah, that's how they are going to say thank you. By shooting you down in the street unarmed. And I say all of these things as a U.S. veteran and service member, so y'all know what it's about. Look, fam, our military has been usurped. It don't serve the people. It's not here to defend the nation. Unfortunately, it serves corporate interests first. It serves corporate interests first. It is a corporate mercenarial force first. They don't tell the American people that, but I'm telling y'all that based on what I lived and what I saw. And I don't think they're gonna change it, because money is more important than honor. Money is more important than people here in America. So that's where we at. Look, don't none of y'all get depressed by none of this. Don't none of y'all be worrying about none of this. We know what we got to do. The problems that we had yesterday in the black community, they ain't going nowhere. They still there, and we still got to handle them. But I just want to make sure that we don't get distracted thinking, oh, it's time for us to go sign up. It's time for us to go serve. No. Donald Trump, this administration, Israel, they're finagling and putting themselves and everyone else into a dangerous situation where they can get themselves and everyone that's going along with them killed. We don't have to be dumb enough to go along with them. Besides, Iran's not our enemy. The only time Iranian people are enemies to us anyways when they come in our community and they're disrespectful to us and they act like white imperialists. But other than that, we got our own problems that we got to solve. Or, hey, one thing we could do is say, since y'all want for us to be fighting your war, because you know they're going to want us black folk to fight their war for them, we tell them $25 trillion check for reparations, along with a tangible plan that we write up, that we sign off on, and then once you cut us our $25 trillion check, once that check has been cut, then okay, now we can sign up and maybe we can go fight, because now we know we got $25 trillion waiting on us. Our families have $25 trillion accessible to them either when we die or when we come back. So we'll have resources to defend ourselves against your white imperialism, if you should so desire to pursue that once the war ends. Now we can go that route, and then maybe once we go that route, then okay, now we'll be maybe singing a different tune. Hey, we got a $25 trillion check. All right, you know, go sign up for the Guard or Reserve or something, because they gave us our $25 trillion check. Maybe something like that. Maybe not. Who knows? All I know is, as it stands right now, we have nothing to gain by going over in there. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Thanks for listening to this message. I am King LiKuiD. Fam, look down in that description box. I've got links to my Twitter page, my Facebook page. Support me online at Patreon. You can sign up for $2 a month. $2 a month is all I ask. And visit me online, www.thekinglikuidshow.com. That's thekinglikuid show.com. Support the rise of intelligent, independent, black-owned community radio. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. I send all of y'all love, community, power, and soul. I am King LiKuiD.